So when I first bought my house, my mortgage payment was $1,151. After my first year living in that house, they raised my mortgage to $1,579. The fuck? I thought I was tripping. That is a $428 increase. I was under the impression that my mortgage payment would literally never change, but I was wrong. So here's what happened, and I'm going to use example numbers. So let's say there's a house and the value of that house is $20,000. Because the value of the house is so low, that means that the property taxes are also going to be significantly low. So let's just say the property taxes are only $500 per year. Okay, now let's say an investor comes in and rehabs the entire house, puts everything brand new into the house, boom. Now it's a beautiful home. And now the value of that house is $150,000. Okay, now because the value of the house went up, that means that the property taxes are also going to go up. So now the property taxes are $2,000 per year instead of $500. And this is what they did not tell me. The fuck? So basically, I believe it's every single year they come and do an assessment of your house. And they say, what's the value of this house from last year to this year? And if your property has increased in value, they are going to increase your taxes. Now, I am highly upset with the people who, my mortgage lender and my realtor, for not explaining this to me. And the reason why I'm so upset is because I would have been okay with that if they would have explained that to me and I was ready and prepared. But no, I just got a bill in the mail and it said a $428 increase due in 2 months. I believe the issue is a lot of the times, especially when it comes to young people and first-time home buyers, realtors and mortgage lender, whoever you're dealing with, they don't want to give you all the information up front because they just want to make the sale. They just want to make money. And I believe that is so unethical because now I don't even want to work with you. Like, just tell me so I know and I'm prepared.
We purchased a home last December. We moved into it was our second home, so we had sold our first home and we were able to purchase the second home. It was a beautiful home. The price was higher, definitely higher than our first home, but it was something that was doable for us, and it was our dream home, and we thought that we were going to raise our children in this home and we were going to have this home for a very long time. And the mortgage was 3832, which might seem high for some, but for us it was fine. We could do that. And so then in February, we received the new mortgage for the year that had like the escrow and all that, and it showed that we had an escrow shortage of $23,000 because whenever they had calculated the mortgage and the property taxes whenever we had purchased the home, they calculated it for the land. They didn't take into account that a home was going to be on the land. So whenever they realized, oh, there's a home on the land, then it gave us an escrow shortage of that $23,000. So our mortgage went from $3832 to around $7,200 a month. $7,200 and change. So 3832, affordable. 7,200, no way we can do that. No way at all. Whenever somebody had mentioned how, a new home, they probably did calculate at land value, so it's probably going to go up. I was thinking, oh, maybe it'll go up $1,000, and I was prepared for that. Like, okay, we can do it. We can even though to me, like, that's expensive, like a $4,800 mortgage is a lot for me, but I was like, we can do it, no problem. But to go to $7,200 a month, like, no, I live in Texas, and I could probably be living in a mansion or something close to a mansion, paying $7,200 a month. Our home is not, or I could have 2 homes in Texas for that price. I could have 2 mortgages to pay $7,200 a month, even three homes. So that was just ridiculous to me.
My mortgage went up $1,000 and I am not okay. So let me tell you guys, for the longest time, people be screaming from the hilltop, home ownership is not it. Like, don't rush. And I will just be like, I don't understand it because I'm literally chilling, like cheaper than rent. I was bamboozled. So let me tell y'all what they do not tell y'all about real estate. So they do an analysis every year from, at least with the mortgage that I got, right? And so they did an analysis, and basically my mortgage increased by $1,000. And I asked them why. And they were like, something about, my house is a new build. And so I guess they charged me for the taxes when it was just the land for 2 years. Then after year 2, they add the taxes with the house actually on it. And they were like, yeah, your builder is supposed to tell you. They didn't. They didn't. And so I asked them, can I sell the house? And they were like, there's no equity in it. You guys see me smiling, but come next month, I'm literally going to be in tears because $1,000 extra a month, I legit want to move back home and live with my parents. But I don't have that option. I'm sick. I'm sick. Honestly, don't buy a house if you're single. Buy a house when there's 2 incomes coming in because, baby, you gonna need it.
My mortgage went from being $1,500 to over $4,200, and that's because I made the decision to move from Michigan to California to have better weather. And it's just so crazy to me because I'm not even in a house in California. I'm only in a condo. I did some calculations. If I was to buy a single family house that's even similar, remotely similar to what my house in Michigan was, then my monthly mortgage would be over $10,000. And to get a house that's kind of small, 3 bedrooms, maybe $1,500, my monthly mortgage would be over $7,000 in California. It's just wild to think how much more housing costs here, because in Michigan, it for $250,000, you can get yourself a really decent house. Here, you can't even get something at a trailer park for that much in Southern California.
I don't think I want to own a house in today's world. I have seen too many horror stories on this app where people are like, I used to pay $1,500 in mortgage. Now I pay $3,600. I think not. That won't be me. All right. Not only that, I see people in that same situation and then their house is falling apart. Nothing's warranted. The companies are like, we can't help you. That's not covered. So now your house is falling apart and you can't afford it. Now you have to sell it. Now what? Okay. Then you're telling me that if you pay the house off, you still have to pay property taxes, which just keep going up themselves. So you're never and then they're like, oh, well, you get equity. So I get a little bit of equity to forever not own anything, to forever be paying on something. Why would I want that? It just doesn't make sense to me when I can rent, okay? And they fix everything. I have not had one bad experience with renting. And I know some people have, but I haven't. In today's world, it just doesn't make sense to buy a house. I just feel like people they just feel like they have to buy a house.
The reason why my mortgage went up over $1,000 is because homeowners insurance in Florida has gone through the roof. You see, Governor DeSantis has created this huge distraction talking about Disney and drag shows and banning CRT and banning books. But what we are failing to address is the big homeowners insurance crisis that we're having in Florida. One reason why homeowners insurance has gone up in Florida is because FEMA has remapped the flood zone. My house, which previously was not in a flood zone, is now in a flood zone, forcing us to have flood insurance. With that being said, Governor DeSantis signed into legislation that Citizens Insurance, which is state-backed and also the largest provider in the state of Florida, will be forcing homeowners to have flood insurance whether they are in a flood zone or not within the next 5 years. That same bill will also require policyholders of Citizens Property Insurance to switch to a private insurance company if the renewal offer was less than 20% higher. The only problem is all private insurance companies are leaving the state of Florida. Another reason why homeowners insurance is going through the roof is because Florida is rampant with fraudulent claims and litigation. If you see a blue tarp on a home in Florida, it's either the homeowner's trying to scam the insurance company's trying to scam the homeowner, or the contractor's trying to scam both. Furthermore, the Florida Supreme Court ruled that attorneys can charge more for billable hours in the state of Florida when it used to be capped at 25%. Over a 10-year span, there was $51 billion in claims for Florida insurers. 71% of that went to attorneys and public adjusters, while only 8% went to claimants themselves. And from 1851 to 2018, 41% of the 292 hurricanes that hit the United States hit Florida. And 37 of those 120 hurricanes that hit Florida were rated Category 3 or higher. There's been at least 14 private insurance companies that have liquidated and left Florida. And in Florida, the average homeowner's insurance policy is $4,200 a year, while the national average is $2,700. So while our governor is fighting this make-believe culture war, many of us are being priced out of our homes.
So when I was in college, right after I graduated, I felt like it was pretty important to join into the American dream, American rat race, and that meant like getting a good career in corporate and buying a home, essentially like starting my generational wealth. I don't come from generational wealth. I wanted to set myself up. I had put so much pressure on myself right after I graduated to get a good job and to also buy a property. Mind you, like I live in Southern California, so it's really expensive out here, but I was able to make it happen. I was 24 and I bought a condo. Now, looking back, I realized like I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was just following along in what I thought was the right thing to do. Basically, what I want to say is that it's so important to not feel pressured and to not feel like you have to make big financial decisions like that in order to like live up to some expectation that someone's putting on you. Most of us in our 20s and 30s, we don't really know what we're doing. Me putting in all my savings and everything into buying a property, probably not the best financial decision that I should have made. I mean, it's okay. This is like how I learned. Don't feel pressured to do things like that. You're not supposed to know your dream job right out of college. You're not supposed to go and buy property and start a family. Like, this is when you learn things. This is when you learn how to invest and to make mistakes. And it took me making a really big financial mistake to understand that like it's okay if I don't know what I want to do and I don't know where I want to be and I'm not established yet.
I am this close to just thinking maybe it is better to rent for the rest of my life than to actually own property. Which sounds sad to say, but hear me out. It has always been my dream to purchase my own home, which is the whole reason I even started working 2 jobs for the last 5 years, hustling my ass off, because I want to purchase my home so bad. I feel like a part of me is starting to realize there's so many cons to owning your own home. For example, number 1, if I were to buy it in California, I would have to have a 30-year loan, and I don't want to spend the next 30 years of my life paying off my home. That means I'm never able to just up and leave because now my home is here, my life is here. If anything goes wrong as a homeowner, I have to fix it, which could be so expensive. Roof, plumbing, maintenance, all of that, right? That's something I would be responsible for. If I move out of state though, which by the way, I can more than enough afford to pay off the home within like 5 years, then I had to pick up my whole life here, move it somewhere else, hopefully find a job over there. Even if I move it there, regardless, I can't just leave. Now my home is there. Versus if you rent, like if you rent an apartment, if anything goes wrong, you're not responsible. Also, you can up and leave whenever you want. You're not restricted. You can break the lease and you can move to another state if you please to. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm in the process of buying my very first house as a 28-year-old with no kids. I'm not married. I am in a relationship. I close in 7 days and I feel like I should be super excited right now and happy, but in reality, I am terrified and I am so nervous and I want to back out, but it is literally way too late in the process for me to back out. And I've missed my last chance to do that. And so now I am just like sitting here and regretting my decision, but we're just gonna have to make it work. We're gonna have to figure it out. And yeah, I'm gonna be house poor. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna afford food. I don't know how I'm gonna afford gas. I don't know what I'm doing. Who let me do this?
Buying a home as a single parent is a bad idea. I'm a single parent who bought a home and I am thousands of dollars in debt. I thought that buying a home would be the best thing for my daughter and I. I didn't take into consideration property taxes. My mortgage went from $1,400 to $1,900 in 2 years. I'm in debt because I had 3 water leaks. Not only did I have to pay the rise in property taxes, but I had to pay for the maintenance in my home. I definitely believe that homeownership requires 2 incomes. All of the things that I could do before I bought the home, all of the things I could provide to my daughter before I bought my home, I can no longer do. I am what they call house poor. If you are a single parent looking to buy a home, I hope you have thousands of dollars in savings. Equity is cool and all, but when it comes at a price, I don't think I'm willing to pay it anymore.
I bought a house when I was 26 and fell immediately into poverty. Okay, when I lived with my parents, I was living my best luxury lifestyle. I went to South Korea, bought a 2000 plane ticket, didn't even blink twice. I went shopping, luxury goods, all that. Was traveling, was just, I was living it up. I felt rich. I had no bills. And I had a full-time 9-to-5 job. I was working as a nurse. Okay, I was killing it. I bought my own house. That first mortgage payment came in and I was like, this is a situation. But at first you think you can handle it, right? Like, what's a couple thou? What's a couple thou? I got it. But then the pipes in my 80-year-old home broke immediately as soon as I bought the house. Wiped out my savings. Then another pipe in a different area of the house broke. Okay, I'm struggling. Okay, I need help. Then my neighbor's pipe, it was a twin house, her pipe broke. And she didn't believe that her pipe broke, but her pipe broke on my side of the house. So all of that water that was coming down was spraying into my home. And then my water heater broke. When I tell y'all, I went from living in the lap of luxury to destitute immediately. Now, don't get me to fooling y'all, because it was worth it in the long run, because that house is now worth like 2 times what it was worth then. So I'm actually doing pretty good. But at the time, when I tell you I was struggling, I had to go to my parents every other day for dinner because your girl could not feed herself.
I'm honestly kind of shocked. When did we stop building real houses and start building houses made out of glue and bark chips and list them for $1 million?
So this is what I'm talking about right here. $1 million for a bunch of junk OSB plywood and bent 2x4s.
Plastic plumbing, all thrown together by the cheapest possible bids they can probably get.
And you don't even get any land for your $1 million. Look how tiny this lot is. This right here is the new type of house they're building in the suburbs of Portland, and it costs $975,000.
Literally everybody I know wants more affordable housing, but all we get are these monstrosities that are so incredibly expensive. And an HOA that costs $100 a month and doesn't let you do anything.
And that's all they're building, all around me. They opened up all these acres of old farmland, and all they're building are these ginormous houses. Even Zillow estimates the payment on this place to be over $6,000 a month.
And unfortunately, this is the future we're looking at, where no normal working class person will be able to own a home. We're talking about something like 5 or 6 of the average salary around here in order to purchase this house. Now make that make sense.
Just got notification that my mortgage is going up for 2025. I knew that this was going to be happening, but I had been dreading the day that it does happen. And when my husband walked in tonight with a huge stack of mail, I just knew that this was sitting in there. Basically, last year, our homeowners insurance non-renewed us, travelers. Hate you. They non-renewed us. They said that we needed a new roof. They were using satellite photos to look at our roof. Nothing wrong with our roof, according to the home inspector that inspected at our home, that we had come out and re-inspect our roof. Or the 3 roofing contractors that we called to get their professional opinion. Travelers Insurance basically said, nah, shove it. You need a new roof and we're dropping you as customers. Unfortunately, when they do that, it puts a bad rap on your name or whatever, like you're in probation almost. So we only have one singular homeowners insurance company right now that is willing to insure us, and it was to the tune of about $2,000 more than what we were paying, which is heartbreaking. But on a positive, we're allowed to have a trampoline without any additional cost incurred, which I guess is a win-win, right? And then our taxes went up in October. Coincidentally, just a few months after the community struck down a multi-million-dollar budget increase to the taxes. Community struck it down for a number of reasons, but primarily because every year for the past 4 years, taxes have increased in the town that I live in. I do live in New Hampshire. We are one of the highest tax states out there, though I'm sure someone's going to tell me that their taxes are higher. We don't have income tax or sales tax, so that has to be recuperated through the tax of properties. And no, our governor will not legalize certain plants and tax those as a way to help make up the difference. Instead, it gets brought down to people like myself and my husband. Fortunately, myself and my husband are employed. We're not on a fixed income. Unfortunately, a lot of people in my community and other communities are on fixed incomes, and they cannot afford these consistent tax increases. So this is pricing people out of their homes, but that's okay. We have developers coming in from other states to build affordable housing. but the affordability is going to be affordable by like Boston and New York City standards. So it's going to cost you $3,600 for a 1-bedroom apartment. Can you tell? Can you tell that I am passionate about this topic? Back to the escrow. The escrow increased by $860.77 over the course of the year.